happy, you're always gonna grin. You get out what you put in. You get out what you put in. Never gonna lose, never gonna win. Long as you're happy, you're always gonna grin. You get out what you put in. You get out what you put in. You get out what you put in.
There we go. We are live. I've got Hilary with me. Hilary, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Are you, Ashley? Hello, everyone.
Absolutely buzzing. Oh, I've been trying to get to talk to you forever.
Yeah, it feels like that, doesn't it? Yeah.
So what's been in the way?
Trundle.
Okay.
I lost my life to Trundle.
Okay. So, right. For those people that don't know you, Hilary,
Yes.
and I guess it's quite a few, because if you're difficult to get hold of, then we need to fix that. So that's why you're here. But for anybody that doesn't know you, who are you? What do you do?
Well, who am I? I am Hilary, Hill for short. I'm only a Hilary when I'm in the doghouse. I live in Cheshire, based in Cheshire. And I am the founder, but there's a small team of us now. So I'm not taking credit for all of this, of Trundle without the E. That's the important bit. And in short, we've created a digitized version of what used to be the charity bucket on the high street for giving your pennies away to do good stuff. But the difference is that we turn your everyday walks, so we're all about walking, into charity donations without you having to do all the fundraising. So we're quite pioneering. There's nothing else really quite like it out there in the UK. And we are building up a really lovely community of Trundlers that I'm very proud of, all of them, and love them all immensely for being so.
So your friend and mine, Odessa,
Yes.
she introduced me to you.
She did, and Rory, because Rory introduced me to Odessa. So there's a lovely LinkedIn story behind the family treehouse as how I come to see you.
Yeah. And this is the thing about LinkedIn.
No.
It is incredible. It is absolutely incredible. I've got so many friends. I have got so many friends. They're not just business acquaintances or people I know. They're friends. And it's just a lovely community. And I'm guessing you're getting that with your Trundlers.
Yeah, very well, getting that with the Trundlers, but you're absolutely right. We have met so many Trundlers through LinkedIn and businesses, because we're for individuals and companies. Perfect. So we've often had an individual who's found us through LinkedIn, started to Trundle, and then that's then rolled on into then having company Trundlers. So yeah, it's been, I'm the world's worst LinkedIner, but I totally get that it's very, very good for connections that we'd never ever be able to make.
Hill, let me have a chat with you. Cheshire, right? There's no C in Cheshire, is there? Well, there's a capital C, but when I say C, SEA, right? I'm running a workshop next week, right? Down here in Sidmouth. Come and spend the day with me, all right? And you will be the world's second best LinkedIner.
I know, yes, with you at the start, yes, because it's a shame, because I missed, when I was in Devon last time, I missed your last one, didn't I? Because they look brilliant. I think that what you do and your newsletters and your tips, etc., your Monday tips, they are brilliant.
Well, I've just seen the benefit of that. I've just been up to Accountancy, which is the world's biggest accountancy show. Yes. And the amount of people that just came over and said hello. It was lovely.
Again, that's another one. Helen Rogers does for admin. She's down the road from us, and yet, in effect, I didn't know you knew her, and she was at Accountex, and it's such a small world, isn't it?
It is a small world but I wouldn't want to paint it. So, you hit the nail on the head, because I do some voluntary work with guide dogs, and I have stood in the street with a bucket, and people just walk past. And what we tend to do is, because we find someone who's got a guide dog, and they'll come and sit with us, and people come up and, it's a little doggy, here's some money. It's a little doggy, but I don't carry cash.
No.
And they're like, great. And so I don't mind putting my hand in my pocket and putting a couple of quid in a thing. But I don't always have a couple of quid on me. And it's like, so what you're saying is I don't need to worry about that ever again, because as I'm walking, I'm putting that money into the Trundle bucket, which then goes in to do good causes. Is that right?
You are, yes. I think there's one thing I've got to say before we talk about that, because I think it's something that I'm really passionate about, and so is the team, is that we built Trundle to be the motivation to get you out walking by giving back to charity and doing something purposeful, because we have an ecological side, let's call it, to the app as well. But we're an activity app that gives back to charity. We're not a charity app. And if I stopped anybody from doing that 10K run or supporting a charity that they already support with a direct debit, or by putting some money in a bucket that they wanted to do, we would have failed miserably in our mission with Trundle, because the minute we take it from another charity, that's wrong. What we're trying to do, so we're a membership app, Ashley. We charge £3.99 for an individual and £3.33 plus VAT for a business. And the idea being that we wanted to keep it a low enough cost that somebody could swap a cup of tea or coffee in the cafe, or a cake, or something that they weren't going to miss, not that charity donation that they were going to give, and put that into what we call our digitized charity bucket. And let's be transparent, a minimum of 30% of that membership goes into that digitized bucket. Okay. We aspire to get that to 50%. And as we grow, our target is 5,000 members. When we hit 5,000 members, then we start to do brilliant things. And we already are. We've already raised £18,000 so far. But I think, and the other part that I need to explain is that we have brand partners on the app who give offers. And instead of them giving an advertising fee, they put a donation into that digitized pot. So that's how we grow this pot of donation fund that we then distribute by every time somebody goes out and walks. We have a community target on the app. And when you press go trundling and you finish your trundle, that amount of kilometers equates to normally between about 5 and 10p a kilometer. And we're using the money from our donation fund to allow you to walk for charity without you having to raise all the money yourself. But it means that we can start to really have some purpose. And then we have a CO2 button we can come back to in a bit, which is all about doing good stuff for the planet.
This is brilliant. That's brilliant. I love walking. I go for a walk every morning and at lunchtime, and again when I finished work.
God.
And some days I'll go out for a walk and my wife will go, "You're going again?" I go, "Yeah, I haven't done my 10,000 steps." Yeah, but you did 20,000 yesterday. And so like, yeah, but that's not the point. If I want to do at least 10,000 steps every day. I'm averaging about 13,000. And I can now turn around to her, say, yeah, but if you stop me going out, can I nominate a charity?
No, we pick the charities.
You pick the charities, okay.
And I think the other thing to say, and this is part of my story, you could be here all day with this, so you're going to have to put me on the timer, is that the app is totally non-competitive. The reason being, I've always been a walker like you. I love walking, and I'm 56 now, and at the age of 40.
Shut the door.
Yes, it's the good look. It's the outdoor walking that does it. But
Absolutely.
8 years ago, I didn't know it was going to happen. I got out of the shower and went to pick up a hairdryer, and I couldn't feel my thumb and my arm sort of up this side. That's why I'm throwing it out there. I'm fine now. But I went from I just took life for granted that it was always going to be that I could go and do those walks, have that sense of achievement, that I could do that 20,000 steps. And then suddenly I couldn't. And I'd gone into, let's call it rehab. And that's, as I've had this idea for Trundle for nearly 20 years of marrying sport and charity, I thought. And then that's when I thought, oh no, hang on a minute. This is not about that. This is about non-competitive, no leaderboards, not shouting out somebody who's gone the fastest. Then I got diagnosed with hip dysplasia, which I was born with, but I didn't know about. So now I walk with a wonky walk. I have dicky knees, my hips ache. So from my perspective, getting out there and having a 10, 15-minute walk that alleviates the pain and gets the blood flow. In fact, I've done a post about that this morning, who lives with pain.
On LinkedIn?
That's the kicker for Trundle. It's for everybody. We do have runners with it. We have an ultra runner who runs with it, but don't tell everybody.
Okay. And you also have people like Caroline Carter and Emma McGarrity, who've already hit the Go Trundling button today.
They have.
And as a team, it's really motivating and encourage us to get out of the office for some sunshine. Yes, it's a beautiful day today, Caroline, isn't it? Okay, so you haven't always done this. You had your shower moment. What were you doing before all of that? Did you have a real job at one point in time?
No, I've never had a real job.
Okay.
I'm blessed with a dad who's very entrepreneurial, and I got his genes. So my first business at 25 was a wine bar. Believe it or not, very different, not healthy at all. I had that for 3 years, and I sold that. Prior to that, I was in the aluminium industry, and I'm going to give a little shout out to Liam Kelly, who's love aluminium here, because that's how, again, met him through LinkedIn. Would not have met him if it wasn't for LinkedIn. But yeah, that was my industry. And then after the bar, I went into commercial telecom, so completely different. And I had that business for 14 years. And I sold that 8 years ago, just before the spinal cord thing. And I'm not saying that to brag. I'm saying that because I didn't sell for millions, but I did okay. Yeah. And I then had this option, didn't I, of I could live more of a life of Riley, or I could take a massive financial risk in setting up Trundle. And we have to get this into perspective. I don't have any kids. I'm not married. I'm single. So I don't have the pressures that some people will have in terms of it is just me. It's my destiny. It's one of the reasons that I wanted to set Trundle up, because I couldn't get, they always laugh at me in the team. I can't get to my deathbed and go, oh, that's great. I've run a few companies and isn't that great? No, that's not who I am. I wanted to do something that would go beyond me, leaving this mortal coil. But also because I think I know how lucky I am, Ashley, that I've had the opportunity that I've had to have the wherewithal to build this thing, this beast, which is Trundle, and a lovely one it is too, but it's not been easy. But that power of one, when I do what I do, my 399, when you multiply that 100 times, 1,000 times, it's not about me then getting to my deathbed going, oh, isn't it great what I've done? It's look what we've done, that team effort. And there are so many people out there who don't have the opportunity to do what I've been able to do. But if we can bring them along for the ride, and that's why Trundle's a really human app. It's very difficult to get that sense of purpose through to members other than like this. This is a brilliant opportunity for me to get people to understand that the passion that we feel for Trundle as a team, it should be how you feel when you press that button, because as we grow, and even now, we have impact on the charities that we support. You know, every little bit, they're in a massive, massive state of flux, the charities at the moment. Mm-hmm. It's not a world you live in. You'd be amazed how hard it is for the big ones and the small ones. It's across the board. And if we can go any way to help support just some of them, because it's heartbreaking when you have to say no. That's the tricky bit.
So with the Trundle app, you get to 5,000 members. It makes it easier to scale. So a lot of the stuff is all automated, and you'll be able to take more of the profits to give to charity.
Yes, and it'll give us the option to do some of the things on the list that Trundlers are beginning to say, we'd love that. And you can't do it all. But when we get a common denominator, then that's when it really starts to help. Yes.
So how do we get
investment? So we've been great. We had our first seed investor, which is brilliant, because that shows that, you know, we're a strong company with which has been validated and is growing.
So
Sorry.
how do we help you get a few more thousand members? What can we do?
There's two things. One is download the app. There is a 21-day trial. So if you don't like it at the end of the 21 days, it's not for you, it's not what you thought, then you cancel it, no quibble. And we'll be grateful for the fact that you've trundled with us for 21 days. If you love it and you stay, then as you can tell, you're quite clearly helping us to donate more to charity. But spreading the word, Ashley, you know, that we know that when we get talked about, there is always somebody who goes, oh, I like that. And they just get it. And like anything with any business, any brand, whatever it is, the same for yourself. Some people get what you do, some people don't get what you do. And that's absolutely fine. We know there are 4 million people out there in the UK, because I have the most amazing co-founder in Tess, who's a strategist in marketing, etc., and has done all those audience insights. We know there are 4 million people out there who are very likely to go, you know what, I like that, I understand it, and I'm in, and I'm going to be part of that community. And we only really need 5,000 of those, and then we're there. And we have 1,400 of those at the moment.
1,401.
We have 1,400 downloads of the app.
1,401.
And one, oh, thank you. Oh, that's brilliant. And it's one of those, isn't it? We've been saying it for ages. But in fairness to you, we have always said we would wait till we got to chat properly. But thank you. And genuinely, I think that's the thing. We've got some trundlers who are really committed, who go out and talk to people and then come back and go, but they didn't download it. And it's like, well, that's fine, because people are so busy. I think that's the other thing, Ashley. We've had so many people who I think will be on your podcast who've gone, oh, yeah, that Trundle thing. And they've even come and said, oh, I download that, and they don't. And I totally get why they don't, because life's just so busy, isn't it? It's finding the time to do it. But hopefully it's simple. We've made Trundle simple, so that it's not a long-winded thing to get involved in, hopefully, and pressing your button and going trundling, putting it in your back pocket and then turning it off it's just a habit, really.
And so I take my phone with me everywhere, not because I'm addicted to my phone, but it's got my podcasts and my music on it, and my counting my steps. I don't have a watch thing. So I would just use the Trundle app to monitor my steps.
Yeah, it'll you can set your goals. I mean, it has a goal setter, and in that goal setter, it will also ask you, if you're a car driver, what size of car you've got, small, medium, or large. Because if you then consciously decide to leave the car behind and walk instead, that's pivotal, that it's a conscious decision that you've left the car. We won an Innovate UK award back in late 2022, which enabled us to build a company back-end portal that we needed to support companies, and also to build what we call a CO2 saver button. And when you toggle that on, then that will calculate your CO2 saving, and it'll show you how much you've saved. And then when we reach, at the moment, the target is 1,000 kilos of CO2 as a UK-wide community. We then plant orchards and hedgerows in a school with the Tree Council, who are a lovely charity. And that then, again, it's that sense of purpose that somebody knows that, you know, a lot of those kiddies haven't got a garden, they don't plant things, and then they go through their school life watching those trees grow and seeing those hedgerows that absorb that CO2 and learning about the environment. And you're part of that, and your little walk makes a massive difference to all the charities, because we have 4 pillars of charities. They're all outdoor and mobility related. I ought to say that, because we will be inundated with charities and it's soul destroying saying no, but we cover 4 pillars, which are heritage, wildlife, mobility, and then mental health as well. And so hopefully we cover a range that, and we walk. Our community trundles are normally every fortnight. So we walk for about 14 days roughly for each charity.
Nice. And this is the thing, right? I'm just going to say good afternoon to Pavel. Good afternoon, sir. How the devil are you?
Good
I'm
afternoon.
not sure whether Pavel does much walking, but maybe after watching this, you never know. You never know.
We might have a convert on our hands, a convert,
yeah.
I should say.
Absolutely. But the charities that you support are all to do with why we're walking.
Yes,
And
and that
the
again,
benefits of walking, and the
yeah,
benefits of getting out in nature,
yes.
which is genius.
Well, that genius side of it isn't me, and that's where, you know, there is a team behind this, and that's Tess. Because when we met, I didn't know Tess from Adam when we first met, but she came in, and over the course of many months of doing a validation study, let's call it, before we even went to the developers and talked to them, it was all about, we're going, blah, this is what I want to do, this is my vision. And this happens to this day, and I don't know whether she's listening to this, but she'll be laughing if she does. She gets these blurts of stuff regularly that must just come at her like a whirlwind, as you can imagine from this podcast. And she sits down and goes, okay, Hill, of the 25 of those, 2 of those are actually, but equally, she has got a brilliant mind. We work as a team really well together. I think, you know, we didn't know each other. It's not normal to come into business in the way that we did. And it's taken us a long time. I think we've always got on, but it's taken a long time to find our feet. But in the last year and a half, I think we've become really powerful as a team in terms of our thought processes, bringing ideas together. And that now trickles out into the rest of the team. And that's where it's exciting, because everybody's ideas are popping and brilliant, as well as the community, because that's the other thing that, you know, you just get ideas that we're going, oh, why didn't we think of that? Yeah. But as you well know, sometimes you're just too close to it, and you need to be able to stand back from that. So that outdoor mobility, brands, charities has very much come from Tess consolidating what was the idea of motivation with charity, and bringing brands and an ecosystem of the community supporting the brands supporting the charities, and the charities being supported by all of them. And we're just a bit in the middle that sticks it all together, which is a big job. I don't think people realize how big a job that is in the back end.
I can imagine. I've worked in software development, so I do know what
well,
sort of things.
And I think the
oh my goodness, yeah,
the charities, the comms, the social media, and the education. Because ideally, the other thing that we're passionate about is, you know, if you're going to support this charity in war, what's that charity about? Why are you doing it? What does it mean to them? So we hope through social media that we're constantly trickling you during that Trundle what you're doing it for, why it's so important.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Where did the word Trundle come from?
Well, there's always that one with domains, isn't there? They're the ones you want are taken.
Yeah.
And I think actually, and they're still going, and they're a lovely company. And I think we have Bimble without the L, but that was taken. And then we were sat on a call, and Tess, I think, came up with something to do with trundling, and it's a word that I'd always used as well. And so we aimed for Trundle, and I'm trying to think. I mean, originally, I've had the domain sportyfriends.co.uk for about 20 years, and that's how much it had evolved, really, that I thought it was about sport, and it ironically became about the absolute opposite, and is non-competitive. And you know, it is for everybody. It doesn't matter, but you can only use it. This probably for anybody watching. Can I use it on a bike? No, you can't, because the other clever thing about Trundle is it marries GPS and a pedometer. So if you forget to switch it off and you get in the car, when you get home, it will tell you you've done 35 kilometers, but it'll then think about it and go, oh no, hang on, there's not some steps here. And then it'll not
sat down for most of them.
Yeah, exactly. So, but that of course had to be built into it, so that somebody couldn't go, oh, if I drive to Inverness, then I can raise money for, let's say, Dogs for Autism or Move Against Cancer or national parks. I can't leave the charities out. There's a lot of them, you know. But and wildlife trusts we support, ramblers. As I say, Tree Council, and we do guest charities. We've just done a guest charity for Country Trust, and then one that's very close to my heart and always has been is the Trundl Trust. We raise money for Trundl as well. So there are main ones. I hope I haven't left anybody out. I don't think
you're always going to leave somebody out, and this is why I don't tag everybody in a post, because it's like, oh, you left me. Oh yeah, I did, but I didn't mean to. And it just
well, I mentioned Tree Council before, didn't I? So I'm all right there. We have walked for your minds in the past. Oh, and the Hedgehog Preservation Society. How can I forget them?
Well, I was just going to ask: is that why you've got that logo?
That was actually our the company that helps us with the logo. Am I allowed to mention their name? Are they allowed a shout out? So they're called Identity Creative. They're in Saffron Walden. We went to them with our remit for the brand, and they showed us the normal ones, which were brilliant. And then right at the very end, the lady who was in the call said, "Can we throw you our wild card?" And bundle came up, and we Trundle for a bundle. That's what he's called. And he's stuck, and he's the best thing that ever happened. I mean, if ever you're looking at branding and you can go off on a curveball, absolutely has nailed it. Everybody loves it. And merchandise for us is the next thing, because we keep being asked for it all the time.
And it looks cool. So what's the name of the company then? Give them a shout out.
Identity Creative in Saffron Walden.
Identity Creative. And who do we need to catch hold of there?
Yeah. The main person, well, Adam is the guy who's responsible for all of our illustrations, and Stacey Pruitt is the lady who you can talk to there. She's
right.
brilliant.
Okay.
Stacey.
Well, we'll make sure that we've got all that information. No,
Yeah.
Perfect. So setting up a business from scratch when you thought you were going to retire, what was the biggest headache? Hell.
Well, it was my third business, so I wasn't stupid about how difficult it was going to be. And I think, to be honest, Ashley, this has been the same for every business I've ever run. It's always harder than you think it's going to be. It always takes longer, it takes more money. I'd factored that one in as well. So I think just that whole and part of it, I think, is because we're back to that busy lives. When you're in the environment we're in, you have, what do they say now? Is it 4 to 6 seconds to capture attention for somebody to stop long enough to stop scrolling, for you to get your message across, to click on your website. And then if you're anything like me, I'll get on the website and then I'll get distracted or something happens. And that's why I think now are we 7 to 11 times to buy is the view. And that's probably not changed that much. But so as a small business growing back in the day and still, the difficulties, I think, are getting the word out there, and word of mouth, know, like, and trust without a shadow of a doubt beats the lot.
Yep.
Then it's having the patience and the backup financially to have that waiting game until those things trickle in that secure your cash flow. And I think it isn't just us, and we talk to so many businesses. That's the one I think that kills a lot of businesses, that they think it'll be faster than it is, and they haven't planned for the eventuality that it's slower, and it always is. I've never found it to be otherwise. Did that answer the question, or did I go off?
Yeah, no. It's true of every business, because we'll look at this amazing business or this amazing person, and they're doing all this amazing things, but we didn't see them 3 years ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago.
Oh,
crying, sweating, and all those other things. Yeah, absolutely.
Genuinely, and this is the same of any business, so I'm really mindful when I say this, and I hope there's lots of people. I don't hope there's lots of people out there, but this business, I make no bones, probably has nearly killed me twice. It's still 15-hour days, it's weekends, it's relentless, and that's not just for me, that's for the team. and I thank this again to another man who comes from LinkedIn, is 3 words that I have on my computer screen, and they are belief, kindness, courage, because without the belief and the courage, I couldn't have done this. It has taken, but would I change it for the world? Absolutely not. And I owe Richard Tubbs a shout out for that one, who is also a LinkedIner, because Richard's, been quite pivotal in going, keep going. He's been a Trundl forever. Again, another supporter who came out of nowhere and went, you know what, I like this. But out of the back of that, it's been brilliant. And I think that's the other thing that, I have to say, because we've probably not got long to go, have we? That a massive thank you to every Trundler that we have, because you might think it's insignificant, but it isn't. And every download and every supporter who pays that $3.99 makes a difference. And we love them all hugely. And some of them go above and beyond with beta testing and giving their advice and their support. And it really is the kindness of strangers, as I call it, is overwhelming at times, Ashley, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, hell, forever. We can absolutely talk forever. But you're quite right. It is time to go.
Is it?
But before then, I got a couple of announcements. Obviously, my guest next week is the amazing Rebecca Bonington. I've literally just had a chat with her today. She is incredible. So I cannot wait to share her with everybody next week. She's the coach's coach. She's absolutely amazing. And she's told me to cancel a few of the things that I'm doing. But one of the things I'm not cancelling is my webinar tomorrow evening at 7:00, how to fix the 4 mistakes that we all make on LinkedIn. And so Rebecca was on I did some stuff for her. And even she was making some of those mistakes. And she won't mind me saying that because we talked about it. So yeah, that's tomorrow, 7:00. Come and DM me, or you can find it wherever I am. But basically, what I'm going to do is I'm going to blow your mind in 30 minutes. It's not one of these webinars where I just rattle on about how brilliant I am. I'm trying to give you value within the first minute. Okay. And it's the 4 things we all get wrong, and it's dead easy to fix. So, Hilary.
Well, I look forward to that, because you've already given me some tips that I haven't heeded, and the value that you give, Ashley. And I have to say this as a thank you to you for having me on the podcast. The value that you give in your tips and your videos that you send personally when you do your intros is absolutely brilliant. So thank you to you too. And I promise I will get on and make good the things you've told me to do.
Fantastic. And before we go, my stock question is, what advice would you give your 16-year-old self, Hill?
I think not be swayed by other people. There is normally either an agenda or possibly a value in their life that isn't the same as a value in your life, or something like that. That it's it's very easy to go with what other people tell you to do, and you've got to follow your heart, and you've got to be true to yourself. And you'll make mistakes, but I think you'll get further down the line going, you know what, well, I did the best I could. And I think that's it, because most people will have an agenda that is more towards them than towards you. So you've got to be very careful of that, I think.
Yeah, good for you. Absolutely amazing talking to you. Thank you very much to everybody who's put on some comments. If you want to get hold of Hilary, or you want you want to know more about Trundl, that is all in the show notes if you're listening on the podcast. Until next week, thank you very much. Cheerio, Hilary.
Thanks, Ashley. Thanks, everybody.
Bye-bye.
You get out what you put in. Never gonna